Going to be two speakers. You're going to start with UGMS, and that's the University of Ghana Medical School. Then it will be followed by the first speaker of the School of Medical Science. Then the second speaker of UGMS will come. Then the final speaker will be the second speaker of the School of Medical Science. The first speaker of University of Ghana Medical Science is a fifth-year medical student by the name of Mr. Isaac Nyampong Asari. You're welcome.
Good afternoon. The chair, panel of judges, our accurate timekeeper, dignitaries present, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol duly observed. It is no mean preamble before this august house, and I quote, "Why should mental health care be a priority for a developing country like Ghana?" I am Isaac Asari Nyampong of the University of Ghana Medical School, and I rise to present our first argument in the affirmative. Craving the indulgence of the House, allow me to give and expound on two key definitions which will make the argument gel. First, the WHO defines mental health as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a meaningful contribution to his or her community. The same source goes on to expound that it relates to the prevention of mental health disorders, interventions to curb the deterioration of these disorders, as well as the treatment and rehabilitation of people affected by mental disorders. Priority is defined by the Cambridge Advanced Learners Dictionary as something that is very important and must be dealt with before other things. Mr. Chair, wonderful audience, as a nation, and more so a developing one with numerous challenges engaging our attention and needing our input, we ought to prioritize issues based, among other things, on their importance vis-a-vis the number of people affected, the detriment to the nation should that issue be left unattended to, the benefits the nation would derive if emphasis is placed on that issue, and whether that very issue has a ripple effect on other equally important issues engaging our interest. And finally, also priority should be given to important things that are difficult to handle, which may be failing woefully due to neglect. The chair, discerning audience, permits me to paraphrase Ludwig Wittgenstein's great philosophical work, that a thought is a proposition with a sense, and whatever can be said at all must be stated clearly, whereof one cannot speak, one must pass over in silence. Guided by this adage to clearly express the thoughts I wish to present, this is the outline of my argument so that the whole House may travel on the same wavelength. First, I would establish the importance of mental health in view of the number of people affected and what a prioritized system would do for us. I would then draw the reticulate relation of mental health to other important aspects of our development like education, female empowerment, entrepreneurship, and productivity, with mental health at the core. I would also present a good picture of the state of Ghana's mental health system and propose prioritization as a solution if we want any improvement. Then I would introduce the difficulty in getting personnel into the field and again confirm prioritization as the solution if we are getting anywhere. I will then delve briefly into the impacts of mental health to the nation, community, family, and individual, which would reflect the obvious truth that a lot needs to be done. And then switching to the flip side, I will give a few of the benefits the nation would derive from a revamped mental health system. Lastly, I will draw inspiration from all that has been advanced to establish why this developing status of our nation warrants a premium being placed on mental health with the future in mind, and giving an illustration to stress the importance of a single person's sanity to our country's development. Then I would conclude. Now to my first point, the importance of mental health. Mr. Chair, judges, astute listeners, you would all bear me out that a man's personality is largely determined by his thoughts. Nature aside, all the beauty that surrounds us, like this wonderfully decorated auditorium, our infrastructure and the widgets and gizmos for entertainment, were all once people's ideas. You would also agree that the right frame of mind is required in the formulation of policies and analysis of issues to provide solutions that steer national development. We desperately need our human resource in their right frame of mind if we are climbing anywhere on the ladder of development. Now please listen to this. According to the WHO's official website, 1 in every 4 individuals would suffer from a mental disorder at a given point in their lives. That means a projected figure of 6 million people as per the population of Ghana right now. What figure do we need to declare a national disaster? And I tell you that mental ill health is a pseudo-pandemic. Judging from these projections, the faculty which deals with restoring people to the state where they can make meaningful contributions, which we need, is undoubtedly important. We need to be proactive as a nation and prioritize mental health rather than wait for an external influence to set it as a development goal before we race against time to attain such a milestone, while the issue had been glaring at us unobserved. Mr. Chair, guest of honor, great audience. Secondly, let us view the link between mental health and other issues of importance. We have long stressed on education as a driver of progress, and we are in strong support of female empowerment, entrepreneurship, and productivity. Now the golden questions are, who is the student without his or her mental faculties? Where is the entrepreneur going to brainstorm from if the same mind is down with depression? Which woman are you empowering who has so been depressed and oppressed with tradition and heinous cultural practices so that she lives in perpetual anxiety, a grave mental distress? These all need mental health intervention, some treatment, some rehabilitation. How can we attain our aim of helping these ones and driving these issues of importance if the main issue at the core, which is mental health, is itself suspect and needs help? It's a pathetic situation, and serious attention must be given to the discipline. Next in line, indefatigable chair, great minds gathered here today. This is a sad part, but has to be addressed anyway. And in the words of Albert Einstein, if you are out to describe the truth, you leave elegance to the tailor. I hereby present what I have gathered without prejudice about the state of Ghana's mental health system. It is surprising that a field which should definitely give attention to 25% of our population receives only 3.9% of the total health budget, not the total national budget, but the total health budget. There are about 5 specialist psychiatrists in Ghana for a population of over 20 million, while the United States of America has 7,000 for the same number, according to psychiatryonline.com. So all the psychiatrists in Ghana can't fit into a single saloon car driving around the street. And how can it be adequate to care for the number of people who need attention in that field? There are still only 3 mental health facilities in Ghana, and these are all clustered in the southern sector, as if we do not need such facilities up north. As I speak, the golden mental health bill, so lauded by the WHO, has still not been fully passed. All this present to us the true picture of our mental health system, and the only way we can make any headway is by making the sector a priority. Moving on to my next point, Mr. Chair, wonderful audience. Need I say that mental health discipline, no matter how broad its confines or the number of people needing the care, still remains one of the specialty areas that attract the least number of caregivers. It is very tough for one to decide to commit his practice to caring for individuals whose behaviors may be unpredictable at any given time. Psychiatry used to be the 4th largest specialty in the US by 2002, according to Dr. James Kelly, then medical director of the American Psychiatrists Association. But now, their national residency matching program indicates that it is not on the list of the top 10 medical specialties according to residence application. Given the state of Ghana's already poor picture, what else can stimulate the interest of potential caregivers like myself than to realize that the nation is ready to prioritize mental health and would provide logistics for practitioners so that one does not get frustrated after making the uneasy decision to enter the field amidst other attractive options. And I will say that mental health ought to be prioritized. On to the next area, Mr. Chair, the House. The spate of mental ill health has various demerits to the nation, community, family, and individual. These demerits may not be more crystallized in writing than as captured by Ghana Health Services Chief Psychiatrist Dr. Akwesi Osei in a publication titled "Pass the Mental Health Bill Now," and I quote, "The consequences of mental ill health include reducing the quality of life, predisposing to various physical illnesses, reducing individual and national productivity, and ultimately adversely affecting the national economy. Mental ill health also accounts for a lot of social unrest and vices, crime wave, child delinquency, school dropout, streetism, violence, drug abuse, drug trafficking, rape, pedophilia, suicide, among others. The mentally ill, especially those with a severe form, tend to be among the vulnerable in society, and they are abused every day through rape, chaining and flogging, ostensibly to exorcise the demon in them. Against all this, do we ask ourselves again, should we prioritize mental health? Switching to the other side, great minds gathered here today, it is very obvious that from the demerits outlined in the previous point, they would be curtailed if mental health is given its needed attention. Productivity would increase, more meaningful contributions would be made towards national development, all the vices mentioned would be minimized. All this notwithstanding, let me spark the interest of the House by saying that it may take a lot of input to revamp our mental health structure, but the improved system will become a revenue-generating sector for the nation, and as time goes by, the nation would, in the long run, recoup its expenditure, thus making it a win-win situation where the mental health system is revamped and then money is also being generated for our development in the long run. Finally, Mr. Chair, looking at such a person as Professor Stephen Hawking, one great theoretical physicist who, despite suffering from a neuromuscular disorder that left him almost completely paralyzed, is still able to make inputs into the field of physics due to the preserved functioning of his brain. This goes to prove that even a single individual's sanity is very vital to the development of the world as a whole. And so we look here and we ask ourselves, if such an individual is able to impact this world so much, what can we say of the 25% of Ghanaians likely to suffer mental illness at one point or the other without assistance now, adequate cover to help them? And we ask ourselves, do we need to prioritize mental health in Ghana? The absolute truth and indisputable answer, a categorical yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first speaker from School of Medical Science is no other person than Mr. Yao Asamoah, who is a fourth-year medical student. You are welcome.
Mr. Chairman.